The Book of Honey, by Isadora Rochas, Chapter 8, Stupid and Slow, December 2029. William, I accepted the job from Beck. This meant that I would be rearranging my time, dropping other cases I have been led on. I hate handing off unfinished work, to let someone else swoop in and take credit for what I've done. There you go, this one case could be the push I need to get me where I was aiming for. Beck is never stingy with credit. If we keep the operation small and precise, there shouldn't be too many problems. Provided that what Honey brings us pans out. At some point, I will learn to not doubt her. It took a couple of tries before she stopped calling me stupid and slow. The first 3 days were the worst, and every time I tried to understand the communications and keys for her coded messages, they kept confusing me. I asked for clarification on a few points. She sent me one word: stupid. At the end of the day, it was dark outside. I was walking to the parking garage 4 minutes down the way from my station. I was in my car tossing my bag in my back seat. When I start my engine, someone opened my passenger door and pulled my keys out of the ignition. Pulled my gun out, but before I knew it was twisted and yanked from my grasp. Then I hear the mag ejected and the chamber cocked. When my vision adjusted, the person in my passenger seat put a gun, mag, and a single bullet on my dash. I am terrified, but my rational brain says if they wanted you dead you would be. As I was calling myself 10 kinds of stupid, I ask, "What do you want?" I hear, "William, it's me." The voice verily registers to me. "Is that you, Honey? Bloody hell, what the fuck do you think you're doing? I could have shot you." In a very clear and neutral tone, she says, "William, shut up and listen." Then it hit me, she was looking for me. I might be calling attention to her. I look around reflexively. So, in a much quieter voice, I say, "I'm sorry, please don't do that again." I couldn't see her, but I could hear the cockiness in her voice as she spoke. "Oh, you would have never shot me, William. As you can see for yourself, you were too slow." A spark of anger flared in me. I kept myself calm when I say, "Nevertheless, I would not want to find out." She brushed me off by saying, "Whatever." Then I asked her, "Is there something I can do for you, Honey?" She let out a very frustrated sigh. "No, I'm here for you. It seems you're having a problem deciphering my keys." "Yes, I can't figure out how you sequence your values." The sigh she let out was even louder than the one before. This time her voice lost its edge. Honey sounded like she did when she was in Beck's office. Her voice is clear and direct. The accent she has is hidden right now. All the improper English she was using with Beck was gone. It was like talking to 2 different people. Okay, I am going to explain this once, so I'm pretending that I'm using English as my base language. My key is just like a Vigini cipher, lines the letter up by their value in a 26 by 26 grid. I nod and say, "Yes, I figured that much, but your values aren't adding up to me." "That's because you line them up alphabetically, not the value of which one is used the most." I ask her, "What do you mean?" She tells me. So, when I was making these keys, I thought it was too common to do everything in its proper order. I don't like being predictable. So, I thought about what made something valuable. To me, what is valuable is something in large demand. So, I asked which letter is used the most. I thought about that and said to her, "It would have to be a vowel." She says, "Yep, E makes up over 56% of every phrase, sentence, and paragraph in the English language. So, it would take the first slot. It goes in decreasing order that way." It's the same for all three of the languages I used. The only difference is two are pictographic and not alphabetic. So, find the characters in order from most used to least. I asked her. Is there any way I should go about figuring this out? Honey tells me. The Hungarian will be the fastest because it shares a lot of roots in Latin. Which I hope you know. I say. I do. She says. Good, I used the most common version of each language. If the internet can't help you, then hire a translator who can read and write both. They will be able to tell you which ones are the most common. Teachers would be the best. I asked her. Could you give me an example of each one? She takes a deep breath. Here, turn on the car, but only the dome light. Hand me a piece of paper. When I grab paper and a pen out of the center console, I notice Honey reloading my gun, bullet back in the mag, then mag reloaded, puts the safety on. She hands me my gun grip first. I holstered it and gave Honey the paper and pen. Honey starts writing rows of numbers down on the paper, labeling each one. I try to pay attention to her because our last meeting was brief. But I was tired and hungry for the last 3 late nights I pulled. I take in as much about her as I can. Tonight, Honey had a mask on her face and a hood up. She's wearing black leggings and brown shorts to her knees. She had taken the bandages off her hands. I watched them as they wrote down the paper. They were tan like her arms I saw 3 days ago. Scars, scratches, and bruises. Her nails were painted black. I didn't see any jewelry today or the other day. I did wish I could get a better look at her face. It was not my place to make any kind of request of her. Didn't want her to think I was after anything. So, I kept it about the business we were conducting. I couldn't help noticing her rubbing her head like she was struggling to think. She sighed a lot and she didn't seem like focusing was coming easy. Honey finished with the lines of numbers. When she says to me, all 3 of these are a part of the same message from each of the different languages. You get them and it will give you everything else. Honey hands me the paper. I fold it up and stick it in my wallet. Then I say to Honey, I thank you. I promise I will get this. Honey looks through me with her amber eyes when she says, I don't need promises or tries, William. I need you to pick up the slack because Uncle Bruce's technological understanding is about as fast as a game of Pong. I snort straight out. It just escaped me. I do know of Beck's lack of tech know-how. When she continued to say, that is the only reason I let him talk me into bringing someone else in. I didn't want to. When he told me how much younger you were, I was hoping that meant you had some skill with a computer. Honey didn't seem to be doing too well. I do have plenty of skills with a computer. The only thing that was keeping me from reading your blog was the way you coded your key. I will have a message for you by the end of tomorrow. She gives me a look like she didn't have the most confidence in me. I become more concerned than offended because she curled her legs close to her chest like she is in pain. When she takes a deep breath, I ask, are you all right? She answers without looking at me. I'm fine, just one of those days where everything makes me tired. So, I ask, is there anything I can get you, anything you need? When Honey gives me one very pointed look. Her amber eyes pin me in place, and I can't move. I say persistently, I was about to go get myself something to eat. If you'd like, you may come with me. This time she just lets out a sigh. I shouldn't be seen with you, William. I don't know why, but I wanted to keep her talking. So, I kept asking, is anyone expecting you? She shakes her head. Not for 2 more days. I ask, Do you think they will come looking for you? She says. No, I know what is expected and I've never given them a reason to doubt me. Each time she answered me, she was more annoyed than the last time. Do you have to be back by a certain time? She looked at me and demanded in a growly voice. No, and stop asking questions. There we sat as I waited for her to make up her mind. She let out a sigh. When she looks at me, she says, I could use a good meal. I ask her. You don't mind a bit of a drive, do you? She says. As long as I'm back this way before 2 a.m. I say. No problem. Starting my car, Honey buckles up, but she keeps her mask on, and her eyes on me. I drive 20 minutes east to Kensington Gardens. Honey does not attempt to make conversation. I didn't know what to talk to her about. So, I figured that leaving her be was best. When I got close to the packed street, I swear under my breath, finding a parking spot in London is a fucking joke. It's 7:30 and most people are coming from work for supper. So, I park the car a block away and start taking off my suit jacket, tie, vest, and my dress shirt. I didn't want to make a mess of myself in my work clothes. I was glad for the black tank top underneath. I won't be able to change my trousers. I tossed everything into my back seat when I heard the door open and slam. Honey was gone and out of the car. I made sure my wallet and keys were in my pocket and then got out of the car, grabbing a light jacket out of my back seat. December is so cold this year and I hate being cold. Honey was leaning up against a lamp post, on her phone seemingly texting. I have this sense that I've offended her, and I don't know why. I couldn't think of anything, so I walked up and asked, Are you up for this? She gave me a look. I couldn't see all of her face, but it seemed annoyed. When she rolls her eyes, taking her time putting her phone away. When she says, Lead the way, William. Walking along with Honey was unnerving. While she was looking around once in a while, her eyes rested on me. It was not the sort of glances I'm used to. Most of the time when men or women looked at me, I always saw something. With most women and even some men, it's usually a want from me or they want me, or something I can get them. I've seen annoyance, jealousy, I've seen downright anger, disappointment, and even hatred. Not Honey. I cannot tell what she is looking for in me. She kept her distance and avoided being touched by anyone that passed us. She walks to be as invisible as she can be. Her silence was almost deafening. It's one thing to be alone with one's thoughts. That is bad enough without someone staring me down and making me nervous. Especially with Honey, she made no conversation, she barely made a sound as we walked. She scanned everything. Out of habit I formed from following Beck around, I do the same. Every time we stopped to cross a path, she took her time looking in every direction for several long minutes. She would pull out her phone as she was looking. Beck was right, she used the cameras to navigate around while looking like a zombified teen that couldn't pull her head out of her screen. I only got a glimpse a few times as the camera on the back gives her a view of where she was going and the other one on the front camera gave her a very wide view of her surroundings. I've never seen a camera like that on a phone. It was slightly raised and round like a glass dome. I'd never seen a phone like this one at all. When she did cross, she had no problem keeping up with me, even though she's almost a whole head shorter than me. Then she caught me when I almost stepped off the pavement, almost got hit by a motorbike. Honey grabbed my arm and yanked. I gave a jolt. She let go of my arm and turned on me. Just as I was about to kick myself, Honey gets in my face. You can be as stupid as you want any other time. If you cause me unnecessary problems, I will dump your ass on the ground faster than you can say oh shit. I try to say. Apologies. Honey cuts me off. Paying more attention to me than what you're doing. Stop trying to read me. Once again, I was jolted by the realization that Honey could tell what I was doing. Seeing right through all I was doing to figure out who this person was that had Bruce Beck bowing and scraping for her. She missed nothing and saw everything. All I could do was answer her. All right. She turned back to the street and crossed ahead of me, waiting on the other side. I take a deep breath knowing she was right. Not liking the tone she used. When I feel calm, I am right behind Honey. It's a 14-minute walk till we're on Rover Street, heading to a pub called Maggie's Place.